It might be a giant can of worms, who knows? We're about to find out.
This is completely free floating.
Again?
Yeah.
Hello renovation friends and welcome back. This week we are back at the house after having taken a short detour last week to check out the summer contract in Norway. Now I will admit this gets a little bit funky because last year my love of autumn led me to jump out of the renovation timeline in order to get some cozy fall content. I am making up for that lack of fall vibes by jumping out of the current house renovation timeline and into the present moment. So we'll be spending the entire month of October here in 2024 before dipping back into the regular timeline. Now we're finally catching up with these videos. So the events of the next several fall videos are actually happening concurrently with some of the videos from last fall, as you'll see from other contextual references here and there. So watch the videos in the order they come out and you'll be good. All right, friends, hello. We are back at the house. We arrived late last night after a blissfully uneventful drive down from Montreal. For reference, the last time that I personally made this drive was a few weeks ago when the car broke down, an hour and a half away from home and $600 of towing, and many thousands of dollars later, a new car, because the other car was a complete dud. So hopefully this one serves us a little bit better. But we are here now and we have just over 3 weeks to do a bunch of stuff here at the house, just winterizing, all that kind of stuff before we leave on our Christmas contract. So we kind of have, like I said, 2 main tasks, and then we have a bunch of little side quests sprinkled throughout. So first of all, we want to better insulate the attic, just really work on keeping the heat that we're shooting out into the house, keep it in the house and not escaping into the world at large. We're not trying to heat all of Nova Scotia. And then the other main task is replacing a section of our sill plate that is very rotten, and currently our house is just kind of hovering, unsupported. So that one's a big old can of worms. We have no idea how long that whole situation is going to take us. There are a lot of open-ended questions. And then all the other little side quests basically just have to do with insulating, winterizing, prepping the house to, sustain another winter and hopefully a little bit easier on our wallets than the first winter. So that is the task for today. I am fueled by coffee, and I think we've decided we're just going to start right in with the sill plate, just trying to assess what is going on, try to get a little bit better idea of how we're going to tackle this. It might be a giant can of worms, who knows? We're about to find out. Let's go. Can you tell that I am a little bit nervous and not super excited about the prospect of changing out my sill plate? Yay! Also, we do have a fun visit from a friend coming. We've got an architect friend coming to hang out with us in a week or so. So if it hits the fan, maybe she'll have some ideas for us. Actually, before we tackle all of that, we do need to unload the car because we have a car full of hardwood. We are still carting a bunch of hardwood down from Montreal. So I'm going to take that out of the car first, because then the next thing we're going to do is actually remove the passageway into the house. It's going to become a lot more difficult to actually get into the house. So let's unload some hardwood. They are very full of mortar. Oh wow, you're so crooked. This whole house is so crooked. Well, now you're straight. Even though you probably feel crooked. Itty bitty baby ones. It is an absolutely gorgeous day here in Montreal, and I'm going to take advantage of that to tackle a little side quest that I've been wanting to do for quite a while now, and it's going to become a much larger part of the house project eventually, but it needs a couple months to marinate, and I am finally in a situation where I have a couple months to let it marinate, namely while I'm abroad in Norway. So we're going to go explore the city, check it out, and talk a little bit about what this side quest is that I've got on my mind. But first, look at these adorable murals. So cool. So y'all know that I use vinegar a lot in cleaning the house. You've seen me do it before on the channel, and I'm a huge fan of it because not only is it a very environmentally friendly option, it's also friendly on the wallet. But I do not love the smell of it, and so I'm on a quest to try to make my own custom concoction of vinegar that smells significantly better than what you get just straight out of the bottle. Now, I've seen a few different recipes, options, ways to make your vinegar smell better, and we're going to try out several of them. All of them involve citrus fruit. One of them involves some rosemary. So we're going to pop by one of my favorite thrift stores. We're going to try to find some mason jars. We're going to swing by the grocery store, grab some fruit, and then we're going to head back home and mix up what is hopefully going to be a much better smelling batch of vinegar once it's had time to properly marinate and absorb. Cleaning with vinegar is actually only one of the many things that I've been doing lately, small changes in my life to try to make it a little bit more environmentally friendly. So another thing I did was I recently just swapped out all of my plastic cutting boards for wood ones. We actually had wood cutting boards, but I tended to prefer the plastic ones until I thought about it and realized that I'm probably putting tiny little shavings of plastic into my food every time that I cut something on there. So yeah, swapping all the plastic boards for wooden ones. And lastly, I've been changing a lot of my traditional cleaning products over from ones that tend to come in plastic jugs to Blueland's products. Now they are sponsoring yet another video. I have worked with them before. I genuinely love and enjoy their products. It's such a great concept. It's cleaning products, except that all of their packaging is recyclable. Some of it is even compostable. I have tried everything that they have basically, except for their dishwasher tablets, because I don't have a dishwasher. I am the dishwasher. However, I do love that they don't come in plastic. Like most traditional dishwashing tablets come wrapped in a microfilm of plastic. So every time you use one of those tablets, you're kind of shooting a bunch of plastic down out into the, wastewater system. But Blueland has none of that. It's just a really compressed, tightly packed tablet of cleaning powder, which is great. It is much better for the environment, and because you're not paying for the extra weight of having a bunch of water in your cleaning products, it's also really good for your wallet. So we love that too. All right, everything is all set to go, and now I wait 2 months and you wait 2 seconds. Well, here they are, 2 months later. They're a different color. They're hopefully also a different smell. So without further ado, let's sit down, open these up, and see how they smell. See if this whole experiment actually worked. First up, and the one that looks the most questionable, possibly, the lemon and rosemary. Definitely getting the lemon, not sure about the rosemary. Definitely a marked improvement over the just plain vinegar though. So 1 out of 1. We'll call it a success. Next, I'm going to go for the lime, which also I'm a little bit skeptical about. Purely based on the fact that it's, not as pretty. Wow. Time out while I clean up this mess. All right, well, one mishap later. Let's see how it smells. I would actually say it doesn't smell very strongly of much at all. The strong vinegar is gone, but it doesn't smell particularly strongly of lime either. Not the most attractive, but maybe the best smelling so far. All right, last up we've got our, don't make the same mistake, Shannon. Drum roll, please, for the one that is definitely the prettiest, at least. And smells the nicest. Wow. Okay, orange peel, 100% the winner here. It actually hardly smells of vinegar at all. It has a very pleasant, light, gentle orange odor. That actually smells shockingly good. So I would say definitely give this a try if you're interested in this sort of thing. They're pretty. They smell significantly better than the original vinegar. And if you have other ideas for things I can mix in here, be sure to leave those ideas down in the comment as well. And if you're interested in more sustainable cleaning solutions, ones that are maybe a little less DIY, a little more convenient, also free of single-use plastics, also made with certified clean ingredients that are going to be safer for you and your family and your pets, then for sure give Blueland a try. I highly recommend them. They're also septic safe and bio-based, yet they are still strong enough to tackle the toughest of stains, including everything that I have thrown at them so far in my very old, very dirty house. So if you would like to make the switch, Blueland is sharing a special offer just for my viewers. All you have to do is scan the QR code that should be on screen right here, or click the link that's down below. It's going to get you 15% off of your first kit. And on that note, it's time to get back to the house with all of my fancy cleaning products. What you doing, little corgi? Ooh, look at those pretty fall colors behind me. Very fun. Okay, so now the car is empty. We are going to move this thing out of the way and probably just start digging into the side of the house. See what things look like underneath all there. Does that sound about right? Now, I didn't get to cover this in previous videos just because of all the footage I lost when my phone was stolen, but basically we chose to leave the house with this long trench along the one side because we knew we'd be needing to do some work on the sill, and having that trench there would just give us a lot more room to move around. Step 1, move the walkway that came with the house and that has conveniently become our bridge across our temporary moat. With it removed, we could get a much better look at the sill plate. Let me film that disgusting sill plate. Not great. It is not great. So we can pretty clearly see that the sill plate needs to be changed, but the bigger question is how? It's going to be a tricky situation, mostly because of the way our house is constructed.
So the rotten beam here is quite bad, and here's a clean cut, and this piece here is maybe usable. It would be nice not to have to change this one because it's connected to the corner house. Like, this is not wood anymore. This is everything but.
And where does it start to get okay?
About here. So
Oh,
this is
okay,
a clean cut.
So
But just the sound, that sounds a bit like
questionable.
questionable, but visually it looks better. But so you can see the uprights. The whole wall of the house is sitting right on this, so we need to hold up every beam. Probably tie them all together and support the whole wall before we can remove any of this.
Also, you can see all the blown in that's fallen in through the wall cavities. Whoa, where's my finger? You can see all of the blown in insulation that's fallen down through the wall cavities between the studs and is now just resting on the sill plate. So they did try to insulate, just doesn't feel like it. You can see the holes left over from where they did all the blown in. Honestly, looks like kind of a hack job. They clearly did not care at all about trying to save that wood.
This wood?
Like drilling the holes for the blown in, they did such a garbage job.
Ah, guy with the hole saw and happy trigger.
Yeah. We were going to need access to the bottom of the wall for this operation, which also meant that we were going to have to remove some of the bottommost rows of siding. I started off with this odd chunk of tiny shingles next to the door. I would love to know what the story is there, and then I moved on to the nice longer runs of siding next to them. We figured that since this board was already pretty damaged from all the holes that were cut in it, it would be the perfect candidate for a sacrificial first piece. We could remove it, probably destroying it in the process, but hopefully that would allow us to get all the other pieces below it off without damaging them. Once we had a couple pieces of siding off, we got a good look at what they'd been using as, I assume, a sort of wind barrier back in the day, and it was literally just a really thin piece of paper that basically crumbled under our hands. Also, the audio for this clip is garbage. I'm really sorry about that. I have gone in and added subtitles, but I do promise it gets better. Alright, so the goal is to save as much of this wood siding as possible. We don't know what shape it's in, if we'll be able to reuse it, but I'd like to try to save it. And I think some of it is going to be savable. So after a little bit of experimenting here, we figured out that by pulling off the very top row, now we have access to the full piece of siding going down. It's going to be a lot easier to get these nails out of here and try to save this intact. We are going in with the oscillating tool. That was a tip I got from Schmidt Farmhouse on Instagram. All right, Phil, hit it. Nice. Honestly, I think there's potential. So, more oscillating tool, more wood panels recuperated, and more crumbling paper removed.
So, all of our stress was how are we going to support the wall that's sitting on this beam so we can remove this beam. But somehow the whole wall and sheeting and back wall are supporting the wall already because this is completely free floating. So it might be convenient. It's a little scary that the bottom of the wall for this two-story thing does not...
Maybe stop shaking it then.
Yeah. What might be happening also is that maybe halfway up, where we see the bulge in the wall, there might be a header beam that's taking the load to the corner, so that wall here is actually supportive. It's hard to say, but right now we could just cut the sill plate off and remove it and slide a new one in.
We probably want to put a couple bottle jacks just to be safe and intelligent.
Yeah. We should remove this because it's old and rotten, and probably screw in a piece of 2x6 just to try to support it a little bit, and then we're gonna jack it under it to support the wall, and then I'm gonna be free to remove this. But like, see, I can touch my fingers down here. This is just an open cavity. It's all the fucking wall is moving. Look at the window.
Again. Bazinga! Alright, cool. With the insulation gone, we could get a better look at some of the more questionable repairs that have been made over the years.
This piece stops here. This is the subfloor.
Yep.
On top of this is going to be the hardwood.
Or the original pine floors and then the hardwood, kind of depends. That's what I was saying about it's in two pieces.
Oh, that's a pretty spider.
Fun.
So here's a connection, and yeah.
That one too, it's much better though.
Yeah.
That one's sturdy.
This one, there's strong nails in it, good shape. This one is one piece. It had been shimmed here.
Yeah.
It's solid.
Could be worse. Alright, so opening up the house has, as predicted, made things a lot clearer to us. Mostly good news and some fun facts. Let's take a look. So here's what it looks like at the moment. What we can definitely see is that there have been some problems with rot, and that obviously the bottom parts of some of these uprights have been patched in. I'm guessing because the bottom part rotted out here. And so at some point somebody went in and cut out the rot and patched it up. Very interestingly, also, Phil, you want to point out where the other two uprights stop? So the wind ran off with his reply, but what he's explaining is that this upright stops a few inches above what we can see. So it's actually quite short, and it's just butted up against the rest of that wall stud. And then he goes on to explain that we're just going to sister that whole upright with another new piece of wood to reinforce the whole thing. The wall is completely detached from the floor system. It's really just hanging there. And the only point that doesn't move is essentially the area right around the door. And this marks the return of the yellow scaffolding. Now, if you haven't seen the episode where we spent the day in Halifax and got this scaffolding, which was really good steel, secondhand on Marketplace, but turned into this whole big fiasco thing, that will be linked in the description. It is the next thing that I would recommend you watch. You okay? I guess we're gonna put you down here because I don't know what the heck is going on with the light, but oh boy.